Hello, hello, hello. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am back. And again, I introduced myself. I am Lakeisha, and I am the founder of an organization called Take Your Mask Off, where we encourage, empower, and educate individuals to be their authentic self by removing their mask, right? And so today I'm back and I want to follow up on some discussion that we were having on last week, where I walked through the benefits of um, creating a safe space for our kids to be who God created them to be, right? And so this week, I wanted to come back and I wanted to discuss what's going on with the organization and also another. I guess, I don't know what to call it, bracket or cohort or of what we teach, the foundation of what we teach here at Take Your Mask Off. So our three pillars that we really focus on is identity, effective communication, and emotional intelligence. So last week we were talking about identity. This week we're going to talk about effective communication, right? What is effective communication? Getting the message across and getting it across with understanding, not feeling that you have to stuff it or hold it in or even um, make someone else feel okay about what you're trying to say, right? Is your perception on what's going on, is how again, view it and how it come across in you. And today we're going to talk about our kids and allowing them to have effective communication. But before we do that, I wanted to kind of go back and talk about the benefits of um, the identity portion, just really allowing them to be their person that God created them to be, right? And sometimes as parents, it's kind of hard because we want to create the identity for them, but the benefits behind it they'll show up in the long run. Because what we have to understand is we're not raising kids. We're raising adults, and we want them to be able to sustain themselves when they get out into the real world. Right? We can't teach them. We can't do it for them, and then when they get into the society, we want them to just to show up automatically. We have to mold them from the beginning. And so again, we'll take your mask off. We talk about these three pillars because again, if you know who you are, you know where you're going pretty much. You know what you're going to stand, you know what you're going to accept, you know, what your boundaries and all that kind of stuff like that. So again, just really encouraging them to be their authentic self about who God created them to be with their ideas and their boundaries and with their quirks because everybody's unique, right? We might not agree with what they're doing in the sense of dressing with polka dots and stripes on. That's their characteristic. That's what they desire to do. As long as it's clean, have at it, right? And so allow them to have that freedom, to have some wiggle room, to be able to really develop into who God created them to be. Because again, we can create it because we don't like what they're displaying in a sense of their characteristics. But we have to remember it comes from their dad and their mom, and also it comes from God. So all that mixed together is who they're going to be discovered to be, right? Again, we're not telling you that hey, they can go ahead and just do anything they want to do and just have risky behavior and dangerous behavior. No, there's parameters, right? But again, we want to really encourage them to be their unique self. They're not like anyone else. They're not like their siblings. They're not like their parents. They have characteristics and maybe ways and different things of that nature, but in a totality, they are who God created them to be, uniquely and wonderfully made. They're different. They're unique. They're original, right? So just going to kind of recap on that really fast. Again, we're talking about effective communication today and the importance of them having effective communication. If you see the title, it says it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? And so we know communication is more than words. We know it's more than words. It's body language, it's facial expressions, it's audible. It's all those things mixed up into in one. And so we really want to create a space where they can be able to really express themselves, right? Um, and we have to understand that sometimes as people, if we have broken ears, what people are saying may come off a little disrespectful or edgy, right? Um, but I've always said I can't take how someone speaks personally. Not tolerate disrespect. That's two different things. Tone is very important, right? Tone is huge when you're discovering something and when you're trying to, accept and listen to people. Um, but I also understand that sometimes people that's broken may come off edgy. People that's hurt may come off a little harsh, right? They may come off a little harsh. But if you're in the field, or even the remembrance, or not remembrance, if you're in the agenda of helping people, we have to look past their tone sometime, right? We have to look past their tone to hear what they're really saying. And the more we look past their tone and we correct it, we don't have to correct it in a harsh way, but we can just reiterate, hey, I don't like the way you're speaking. I don't like, watch your tone, but still pay attention to what's being said. We can really hear somebody clearly, right? And so today we're going to be talking about that because again, tone is huge. It's huge. But sometimes tone can get in the way of the message because we feel offended. And I know for me as a coach, I can't allow the tone to always offend me if I'm trying to really get somewhere, get someone to where they're trying to be. And again, on a lot of my lives, I've always used my children as examples because again, what I have learned and what I put out, I had to walk it out first, right? And my middle daughter, her tone is very edgy. Her tone is very raw, right? And so I had to learn that because she's speaking from a hurt place, or she's speaking from a broken place, her tone may come off a little edgy. However, if I'm trying to get her to a destination of healing, I can't always allow her tone to offend me, right? But she can get with me sometimes. That I have to recorrect her a lot, right? And sometimes she accepts it, and sometimes she shuts down, and that's fine. But again, I have to still correct the behavior, but not tear her down while I'm correcting it, and still at the same time hear what she's trying to relate to me, right? So that's what we're gonna be talking about today. And as I'm looking over here, I'm looking at my notes because I don't want to go off on a tangent because I can eat, sleep, and dream. Take your mask off, and I'm very passionate about what I do. And so I kind of got some notes written down so I won't go on a tangent. So, so for effective communication, like I said, we have to create a safe space for our children or for anyone to want to talk to us, right? If we come and we are not hearing them, we're interrupting them, it's not a safe space, they're not going to want to talk to us, right? And as parents, we want our kids to be able to come to us and talk to us about, a lot of things. Again, as a parent, I know that my kids are not going to talk to me about everything. I know that. One, because they don't feel safe sometimes, and two, they don't want to be judged, right? And even though I have my kids' best interests at hand, I can come off a little judgmental, right? Because I love them. These are my babies, and I want them to get the right information. But I've learned that I had to hold my peace. I had to hold it, right? I have to allow them to really express themselves, and really to be effective in their communication, for them to feel safe as they're speaking, for me not to judge, right? For me not to judge. And I think sometimes judging can be subjective, right? I think it could be subjective because me giving an opinion or me giving them my advice can come off judging, right? So I had to understand how to, for me, how to communicate with my kids as well. And the best way I know how to do it for me to get the full understanding is I ask questions, right? So what do you mean about that? Well, help me understand that. Or can you elaborate a little bit more on that? And so again, it creates a space for them to be able to talk without feeling judged because they just want to be heard, they want to be seen, and they want to be accepted, right? And so we have to be able to create that safe space for them to express themselves in communication because sometimes their feelings are heard, right? Um, that old saying, children should be seen and not heard, right? So in the world, they're going to be seen and not heard. So again, just really understanding that effective communication starts at home with a safe space. being heard, and being respected. I never said you had to agree with it. I never said that. What I'm saying is creating a safe space for them to be heard, to be seen, and to be accepted. Right. And so, with that, they can come to you and talk to you about things. They can come to you and express things to you for them to feel safe. Because if they don't do it with you, is the alternative, right? It is called society. And we don't want our kids to be taught by society more than what they already are, right? So we have to understand that creating that safe space really is important in the home, right? And as parents, we have to hold our peace in that moment. We have to hold our peace. And again, I spoke about this in the last live where I created a safe space for my kids where I gave them the opportunity to be quote unquote a friend in that moment while they're talking, not agreeing with everything, but I want them to feel safe. So whatever I had to do, I created that safe space and I bit my tongue in that moment, right? After the conversation ended, I really meditated and thought about what they said, and I came up with a different way. I came up with a different way than just correcting them or you know um dismissing their feelings in that moment, in that conversation. So I kind of stepped away for a moment because it could be a heavy conversation. It could be about me that they didn't really appreciate or like. And again, kids have feelings, and so we're not going to do everything right, and they're not going to agree with everything. But I really allow my kids to be able to talk about those things because they hold them down and stuff them down because I don't want to disrespect mom or I don't feel safe about going to mom and speaking about what just happened. They stuff it. And then it comes out in different ways. So again, creating a safe space for our children to be able to communicate with us effectively is so important. It's so important. Can they talk to their friends? Because they feel safe. They don't feel judged, right? But we want them to come talk to us because we're going to give them sound advice, right? Could be a parent, could be a mentor, could be a teacher, but create a safe space for them to come to and speak. And sometimes my kids could not come to me, right? They could not come to me, but they knew they could go to auntie. And auntie was the safe space for them. And then auntie would double back and let me know what was going on. So I could be in the loop, not for me to go and fuss, but for me to be in the loop of what's going on with my kids, right? But they always had a safe space to go and speak to someone where they didn't feel judged, right? That's one thing I wanted to kind of, really express. That's one the first point. The second point is us parents or us adults modeling a effective communication, right? Because they're watching us. We can't display behavior and then upset when they display the same behavior, right? So, example, if all I do with my kids is yell. All I know how to do is yell because I'm frustrated, because I'm not heard, because I'm disrespected, or whatever it may be. If all I'm doing is yelling at my kids, if all I'm doing is, saying choice words and, throwing things, whatever it may be, that's communication, right? And our kids learn by watching us. They may hear us, but they learn by watching us, right? And so, whatever behavior that we're displaying, they're going to display the same behavior. I always say behavior is a language. Just like when babies are having temper tantrums, it's a reason why they're having that temper tantrum. They just don't have the audible words to express why they're having that temper tantrum. So all they know is to fall out on the floor to get attention, to be seen, to be heard, and to be respected, right? Because in that moment, we're going to respect the fact that they're on the floor. One, because get up, right? So we see them, regardless of how they're being seen, they just want to be seen. So again, we have to understand whatever behavior that we are displaying as far as communication goes, our kids are going to display the exact same behavior, right? So we have to teach them an effective way of communicating. And one is breathing. Don't speak to your emotions. Walk away. Take a time out and then come back. I know, I know. In the moment, I got to get with you. What they say, the saying they say, the kids say, on site. right? On site, wherever you mess up, I'm gonna correct you on site. No, because we know that it's gonna come off really raw and really harsh. They're not winning, but again, we want to model effective communication. So I know in this moment, I can't talk to you right now because I some things are gonna come out, some things are gonna be said, behavior, attitude, whatever it may be. So I'm gonna step away. I want to take a breather, but I'm coming back, right? And we're gonna talk about this. But again, when our kids see us do that, they know when I'm frustrated, I can come back. When I want to express myself, I can come back. But when you get to yelling and give me attitude, and I don't hear nothing you saying, all I see is attitude. So we want to be heard. So instead of me speaking through my behavior, let me be able to speak audibly to get my message across. Effective communication, what we're talking about, right? And our behavior is not always effective. It's going to get attention, but is it effective? Right? So again, creating a model so our kids to be able to model what we're doing. And so when they see us doing it, they're gonna 9 times out of 10 follow because they know that it works. One thing with my son was a child I could not yell at, right? And I was that mama that yelled, right? And so I realized ain't nothing being heard. So I learned that with my son, if I want him to be able to hear me and to receive me and to really react to what I'm saying in a positive way, don't yell at him. Don't yell at him. If I can have a conversation with my son with the same authority and the same emphasis of why I'm talking to him about what he may or may not have done wrong, if I can have that same conversation with him in a calm voice versus me yelling, he's going to hear me. It's just what it is. This is what he wired. So he taught me how to really tone it down, how to walk away, how to regroup, and then come back and have a conversation and not be a mad person. Right. And so again, our kids model it. And my son was the one who never yelled. Even when he was upset with me, he's like, "Ma, can we talk?" That was his thing. And so I've learned that effective communication doesn't always have to be yelling, right? Getting my point across. Am I? Or am I just disrespecting my kids, beating them down even more, and then want them to comply? So again, creating a model and a model for them to be able to have effective communication, right? And you have to have kindness. You think about it. Even though we're adults and they're children, they're still human, right? And so you don't want to be yelled at for everything that you do, right? You don't want to be, talked down on everything that you do wrong because you're human, right? Same with our kids. They're human. And their feelings get hurt too. Just like our feelings get hurt. When they disrespect us, our feelings are hurt. When we disrespect them, their feelings are hurt, right? So again, we're not raising children, we're raising adults. And so however they act now is how they're gonna act in the world. And the world is not kind, and we know that, right? So again, effective communication and modeling a healthy communication pattern, right? Is one thing that we need to do and for our children. And I say we because I'm still a work in progress. I've gotten better, but I'm human. So sometimes I may slip up, but I have to remember quickly, you don't want that done to you. Right? Effective communication. Um, and then just them having confidence in what they're saying. Having confidence, right? Um, and not having confidence with like an ego boost in a sense of um I could disrespect you and I could make you, get up off me. We don't want that, right? But when they speak, they're heard. And when they're heard, they have more confidence built within them, right? And so, really encouraging them to express themselves, one, speak up for themselves, two, and have confidence in what you're doing when you say it, right? I meet a lot of kids that are very shy and don't want to really speak and don't know how to speak and never been given that permission to really say anything. And I'm not talking about babies. I'm talking about middle schoolers and high schoolers. They can come all raw and disrespectful, but to have a general conversation and you ask them questions, well, how you doing? How's your day? They don't they don't want to speak, right? For whatever reason. Not all of them. Some of them just you can't talk, you can't stop them talking, right? But a lot of the kids that I've met, they have gotten to the point where they just don't say much at all. One, because they text all the time. So they don't use their audible, voice a lot. Um, but I've watched children, I've watched kids in different atmospheres. And when they're with their peers, they're all out. They're having fun, they're speaking, they're laughing, doing all those things. But sometimes when it comes to the adults, they kind of shy back, right? But to really just give them permission to have confidence and being able to respect themselves, to express themselves, and be okay with that. Just because we don't like what someone has to say don't mean they don't have a voice, right? And it's again, we have to understand that we are our kids first teacher. And again, this is not for everybody. Some people may have it all together, some people maybe a little here, a little there, but this is for the ones who can really understand what I'm saying. Because again, some households are very open and very, um they have very good communication, but some don't, right? But then we expect our kids to go out into the world and be able to express themselves and talk to people and have all those different skills. When did they build those skills? When were they taught to be able to speak up for themselves? Right? When did that happen? But we want to go out into the world, them to go out into the world and be able to really handle their business, right? There's there's more than communicating than anger, through anger, right? Through emotions, just general conversations, right? And so that's what we're talking about today, just having really effective communication. Um, that trust, being able to trust the adults, again, like we talked about before, trusting the adults, being able to feel safe with the adults, and being able to not feel judged because how they want to communicate and what they have to say. And so those are the things that I kind of want to talk about today, because it's really important. And one more thing that I really want to talk about that I have found that works for me um, is would I allow my kids to be able to speak and to really say how they feel and what's going on with them and what they don't and do like. Again, not agreeing with everything, but giving them that safe space. Our relationship became closer, right? It became closer. It became where my son be, Ma, can we have a conversation? Or Ma, can we talk about something? My son is 18, right? And then he was doing this at 16, 17 years old. He was coming to me and saying, hey, Ma, can we have a conversation about something that, I just want to talk to you about something. Because I create that safe space for him to be able to feel comfortable to come to me. Again, not about everything. Not about everything. But a lot of the important questions that he had, he was able to bring them to me. And I honored that because I was able to create that safe space for him. So again, the relationship with your children will grow when you just hear what they have to say. Listen to what they're saying. You learn a lot. As a parent, I learned a lot by just listening, closing my mouth and opening my ears. Slow to speak and quick to listen is what the Bible says. And slow to speak, quick to listen, and slow to wrath. I can't get angry really fast because I'm going to miss it because I'm in my feelings. Slow to speak, quick to listen, slow to wrath, right? And with that model, it really has been effective for me. Have I gotten upset with what they had to say? I did. Have I not agreed with what they had to say? I did. But what I did not do is break their confidence. I didn't do it, right? I didn't do it. So again, those are my three tips for today about effective communication. I want to come on today and just kind of do that. I am really enjoying these the tidbits that I am doing because I really know that they work. I really know that sometimes people just need to just hear it again, right? It's not that you're weak as a weak parent. It's not a weak parent. It's a smart parent. And that's what I became, a smart parent. Because I'm losing the war and winning the battle. Is that how you say it? Losing the war, winning the battle? However, it wasn't really getting me anywhere long term because attitude was flying, behaviors were flying. But when I started doing this more often and they started to see that I did respect them as a person, their behavior started to curve. Not right off. Didn't have a lot of behaviors to start with, but the behaviors that I did not like really started to taper off. Right? So that's what I want to talk about today. That's what I had for you today. And so I really want to continue to encourage you about our authenticity workshop. Just what's going on behind the scenes. I am super excited about that because we're going to talk about these three topics: effective communication, emotional intelligence, and identity, but on a very extensive time frame. They're going to be able to have breakout sessions and they're going to be able to talk to a licensed therapist or a educator or some type of mentor that works with children that's really efficient in these areas. And so they're going to have that safe space. So the authenticity workshop is going to be on September 19th. And it's going to be at Bernie Ward Community Center. So I can pull up the flyer real fast. Bernie Ward Community Center, where we're going to be able to teach them effective communication, identity, and emotional intelligence. We're going to have SRP there for financial literacy. We're going to have different things like a mechanic and estheticianist for just different, personal hygiene thingies. The young men going to be learning mechanic skills, basic mechanic skills. We also have a parent session where we're going to encourage the parents to really get the tools to be able to hear differently when the kids come back with their new tools, right? So I'm super excited about this. Again, this is not something that I just kind of figured out in the sense of created. I actually walked this model out. Effective communication is important. Allowing your kids to be who they are and allowing them to emotionally to express themselves regardless of what we feel or what we think about what's going on. We're there to guide them, and keep them in the boundaries, but again allow them to walk out who God created them to be, right? So effective communication, excuse me, authenticity workshop, September 19th at the Bernie Ward Community Center. All the information is in the description. Please connect. Please connect. If you want to sponsor a kid, if you don't have if you don't have any children, or that you think you can invite out, we're offering sponsor tiers. So you can go to our website, you can go to our Facebook page, and you can see all the information there. Again, I really want to pack this authenticity workshop out. This is our second year doing it. The first year was a success. This second year, I want it to even be bigger than it was last year. Again, I'm not just finagling this thing and just kind of just doing an event. I know that when we give our kids what they need, they react in a positive way. And a lot of kids are struggling in these areas. My child, my children. So I know, right? So again, it's not something I just kind of figured out and just started, kind of made whatever. I actually walked this thing out before I started to actually put it out to the public. And again, may not be the first one, may not be the only one, right? But I just know that in the school system, talking to kids, mentoring kids, and not just children. I'm working with a 21-year-old, a 22-year-old, a 24-year-old. So again, it's not just children that kind of struggle in these areas. Me as an adult, I'm still having emotional regulation, right? Every day. So again, we can start young and have them to grow up with these tools. Just imagine who they can be in the future, right? So again, this is what Take Your Mask Off does, right? We create a safe space for people to be able to take their mask off and feel confident in walking in their own unique identity, who God created them to be, not who mama told you to be, not who mama wants you to be, but who did God create you to be? And He wants us to be able to communicate effectively, right? And so that's what we will talk about today, effective communication. I'm excited about what's to come. Take your mask off is taken off. We are being built out and we are really growing. And so I'm excited. So if you want to connect with us, like I said, all the information is in the description. Connect with us. We work with single moms as well. We have a cohort where we create a safe space for single moms to come in, like a small group, just have a conversation. It's called Moo and Moms, right? And I absolutely love this small group. And I play on the moo because I always say, ladies, when we go home, we put our moo on, right? And then we're just like free, right? We're comfortable, we're free. That's the same concept with the Moo and Mom small group. I want you to come in and be comfortable and be free to take your mask off and really be able to, emerge from under that title as a mom for a couple of hours. Good group. I love it. And again, it's not for everybody. It's not, right? But if you're that person that needs a safe space, you need a community, come on, we got you. Again, like you heard me say before, I absolutely love community. I love it. And I am really building a community where we can be able to come in and have that safe space, right? For the children and for the mothers. And I thank God that I have been chosen to walk this thing out. So again, thank you. So we were talking about effective communication today. So that's all I got for you. So I am encouraged, empowered, and I am educated today. And I hope you are too. Again, don't forget the authenticity workshop on September 19th, and bring your kids out. You can register on our webpage or you can register on our Facebook page. It's on there too. It's an event made. And I want to also mention another event that's happened on September 5th. It's called the Unmask and Ready. It is a collaboration with Grace for This and Take Your Mask Off, where we're creating a networking event for women of faith that's growing their business. That's also being broadcast across the social media pages where you can come in and network with people, build a community, and also be able to build out what God has purposed you to do. So I encourage you to go to, I think it's graceforthis.net and register for that, right? And you go to Facebook and register for the authenticity workshop for your children. So we're building community from every which way, right? For the moms, for the ladies, for the children, we're building community to bring unity to what we call family, what we call community. So today's topic was effective communication. So understand that for our kids to feel safe, non-judged, and to have confidence, we have to give them permission and create a space for them to be able to effectively communicate with us. So, as I always say, I am who I am and I love me. Take your mask off and become the best version of yourself, right? And when you become the version of yourself, you're able to change behavior other ways, right? So, until next time, talk to you later.